Welcome to Life Esteem, a program committed to delivering information that's important to you and your community. Your hosts are Nathaniel and Patricia Gadsden.
Hello and welcome to Life Esteem again. Always great to have you as a viewer. Hey, today we have an outstanding person with us by the name of Simone Greene. You may have heard of her. She has a best-selling book out called Time Served at Life and Times of Death Row Records, right? And also she's an outstanding photographer. And so we're just glad to have her here in the area. Simone, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, okay. And so Death Row Records, man, boy, when you say that, it's like, wow, we're talking Suge, Knight and the boys, right?
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
Unbelievable. And you were actually there.
I was actually there. I was the chief photographer at Death Row probably about 8 months after they started. And when I left, it was almost like the cremation of Death Row because it started to tumble after that.
Yeah, so you did how many years then?
Probably almost 2.
2 years, wow.
Almost
And
2.
you saw a whole bunch of stuff then. Huh?
Yeah, I saw a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell us some of the artists that you worked with, people that you were able to shoot.
Well, with Death Row Records, I photographed Snoop and I photographed Dr. Dre, the Lady of Rage, Jewel, the Dog Pound. They had a young guy named Danny Boy that was from Chicago that I think was going to do very well.
Okay.
But I've been a photographer for 37 years.
Okay.
So I had already been exposed to the entertainment industry already. My cousin was Melvin Franklin from the Temptations, so he kind of walked me on this path of getting started.
And I see in your book there that you have a picture of you and Melvin.
Yeah.
And many others, by the way.
Yeah.
And just amazing stuff, absolutely amazing and fascinating. And it wasn't always pleasant at Death Row, is that right?
No, it wasn't always
so we're gonna
pleasant
get
at
into
Death
that as
Row,
well.
but I can say that it was an experience, a life learning experience that has channeled a lot of different things for me on how I do business now.
Now it's interesting, as I was reading your book as well, and the journey that you took, right?
Yes.
I just really kind of, was very exciting in one way, but in another way a little eerie in some instances as well. And because you initially were in, you're from Baltimore now. Is it Baltimore your hometown? Or you just,
No, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York.
you're
Born and
New
raised.
Buffalo, New York, okay.
Right, and then I went to Detroit.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about the Detroit, okay.
Right. And I kept going to California trying to get my feet wet. And every time I went, I had to come back because it wasn't right at that moment. And then when I graduated from college, packed up my car and hit the road.
I know, that's that journey. It was
That
just
journey.
really...
The book is called Time Served, My Days and Nights on Death Row Records, but it's really my journey in life. From college and going back to California for the last time and everything that happened in the process.
Okay. There's one part of the book that just fascinates me, of course, and it's, I'm going to call it the incident. I mean, you were actually assaulted there.
Yes, I
Talk
was
about it.
assaulted.
Yeah.
It took me about 8 years to find out the real story behind it, and I'm not going to give it away in the book, but I had been friends. First of all, I knew Suge when he was younger. And he never put 2 and 2 together, not even till probably recently, that he might have thought about it and said, I remember her now, because I used to work at Solar Records as a freelance photographer. But the incident, when the incident occurred, I had no clue that it was about to happen. He asked me some questions on that Friday. The eerie part was is that when he signed my paycheck, he signed it with red ink. And that made me think for all weekend. I was like, oh God, why did he sign my check with red ink? And and later that evening on Friday, he asked me to come in to the office and work with the editor for the magazine. First he said, you're gonna be the receptionist this week.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, no, I'm not the receptionist. See, I had to really let him know I'm not the receptionist.
Absolutely right.
So he said, okay, well, you can work with the editor. But in the meantime, that's when he was getting his plan together on what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. And I had no clue. And about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the incident occurred. He called us all back in the office, and the attorney was there, and he had somebody there to videotape it. And we never seen none of these people come into the office.
Wow.
He snuck them through the back door.
Mm-hmm.
He even had his luggage because it was the Super Bowl was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So the attorney was there, the office manager was there, and this whole incident went down, and I at first I didn't know how to deal with it. I got out of there within like 30 seconds,
Right.
but it felt like it was about 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got out and went to the ladies' room. Well, this is down the hall from the corporate offices for Interscope Records. So you wouldn't really think that this kind of stuff would happen in Westwood, California. Well, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
And after that, Melvin was a little upset about it because he found out later, because me and him happened to go to the hospital the same day. The incident happened and Melvin went to the hospital. So we were both there. He found out, my nephew told him, and he was furious. But I didn't see him for a couple of days. So by the time I saw him, I looked like I had been in a fight with Muhammad Ali.
I know what you mean.
Goodness.
And he was furious, you know. So then I left Los Angeles again. Now I've been back out there several times since it happened. But the incident was, I think it was something that was going to open the door for me to speak to young people, because a lot of young people get caught up wanting to be a star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they think it happens overnight, and it really doesn't.
No, not at all.
And matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna happen.
No, amen.
So that's what I think happened with the incident.
All right.
It opened the door for me to do the book. And I kept doing these rewrites. I got my niece involved, I got different people involved in the project, and it just wasn't there. Then I went to a publishing company in New York, and they wanted me to sign a blank contract and do a $5 million insurance policy on my life that they would collect on. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen either.
Goodness.
You know. So then me and my fiance got together, and we decided that we would do it ourselves.
Good.
And
Good
so,
for you.
Yeah.
Without having to worry about who's going to collect the money if something happens.
Something happens. Because you're talking about some pretty sensitive things that, are kind of revealing. And at the same time, we're talking about a guy, when we mentioned Suge Knight, I mean, he's pretty notorious in the industry, to say the least. His name was out there synonymous with, someone who really strong-armed people, that kind of thing. Also, wasn't he the person in the car with Tupac Shakur the night he was shot and killed?
Okay,
he was the person
was.
driving, right?
Yes, he was.
And Tupac, he was also wounded, I understand, but like barely. Yeah.
Well, if that's what you call a wound,
Okay.
it was a scratch.
It's a scratch.
That
Because
was a
some
scratch.
people now on the streets, people are saying that he actually set Tupac up. At least that's the stuff on the streets. I don't want to get you into no trouble.
Write a book.
Write a book.
I do not. I don't want to comment on
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
But I say write a book.
Yes.
Because see, I was his friend too. So that tells you that if he's that kind of friend, I don't need no enemies, right? And but yeah,
Isn't that
that's what
something?
they're saying on the street.
Yes, that's what they're
Well,
saying.
that's what they're saying.
Give us some insight into some of these people that we hear about all the time. I mean, Tupac is like mythical now. So you knew Tupac Shakur.
Oh, I love Tupac Shakur.
Tell us about Tupac.
I met Tupac. I drove, first of all, after I drove from Detroit back to Los Angeles, Val Young, who used to be with the Mary Jane Girls and Rick James, and well, she's like a cousin of mine. We don't claim each other, but we got the same last name.
Yeah,
Okay.
My maiden name is English.
English,
So,
I saw that, yeah.
so she had a party, and my apartment was down below her. So she was like, bring some of your famous buffalo wings. And I'm like, oh, no. Okay, I don't have much money. I just got back to Los Angeles. So what I did is I went out, I cooked some wings, took them to the party. And the next thing I knew, the wings were gone, and Tupac was in the corner licking the bowl. Like, we licked the bowl from the cake mix, right? And he was like, okay, who made the wings? And Val kept saying, Simone made the wings. But this party was really interesting because it had Tupac Shakur, New Edition, the Mary Jane Girls, Daryl Strawberry.
Oh, really? Okay.
And who else was there? I can't remember. But anyway, this was an apartment where all these people were for this party. So he came over and he was like, Simone, you can come over anytime you want. Just bring some wings. And a couple of days later, he contacted us back and was like, look, can she cook some wings at my house? And we went over to his house and I hooked up some chicken wings and we became friends after that. And he always said he just liked the part that I was a grown-up and I didn't want anything from him.
Fantastic.
But he was very much a gentleman.
Was he?
You know,
He always did a lot of reading.
Okay.
And I think he liked being around grown-ups, as he put it, because they had their own stuff. They don't need his stuff, you know. But he was a party animal.
I don't want to go too much into him, but I was fascinated by him because I took his book, A Rose That Grows Out of Concrete, his poetry book, and I took that into the schools. The kids love it. But then you see the other side of him, where he just dissing women and melting down in front of the police and everything else under the sun. So I just wonder which one was the real Tupac,
The real Tupac is the one that was the analytical person.
Okay.
That's the real Tupac. Now the other Tupac is a Tupac that's for TV. I think that if Tupac could have had lived, he could have ran and did some politician. I think that they didn't want him around.
Wow.
And because he had a big mouth. And that's why they say, oh, he's alive. Tupac could not be alive and not running his mouth. He would be on TV. He was a TV guy.
He was a TV guy.
He was a TV guy. So, but all of them had their own kind of way that they did things. I asked him about how he degraded women. And he was like, Simone, they know who they are. They know who I'm talking about. And it ain't you, it's not Val, but those girls, they know who they are because they're always out there at every show, in any video, they're there. So they know who they are. And I was like, he said, I would never disrespect you like that. So, and that's how we became close.
Then you had Snoop Dogg. I was fascinated
by
him.
I think what I was fascinated by, I never knew some of their real names.
Right, Calvin.
I was like, Calvin, Snoop Dogg, Calvin,
Right, Calvin.
And I started making the association in that relationship with regard to that aspect of it. And then when you brought in the Bloods and the Crips and how everything happened in Compton and the change, and it was just fascinating.
Compton has, that first job with them was the scariest for me. Because it was a picnic. I'm good, but I'm just back in Cali. I want to make money. He got money, and he's sending money to me. And I'm like, okay, now I got to go do this job. But I tell you, I never seen nothing like it before. Old people, it's like you pull into this parking lot. First of all, I had been dreaming a whole week prior that I'm running from bullets at the park. And I was like, okay, God, don't let me get killed trying to make some money. So as soon as I get to the park, I pull up, and the park is surrounded by these black and white police cars. I said, oh, it already happened. My dream then came true, right? Well, when I got out the car, they were like, no, we're not letting anybody in yet, death row employee or not. I was like, okay. A couple of hours went by. By the time the mayor of Compton got there is when they decided to open the park. He had to give the approval for the park to open up. But then Suge showed up. They were buddy-buddy.
He and the mayor.
Him and the mayor.
Oh, okay.
So him and the mayor, they knew what was going on. And it's around noon. The picnic was supposed to start at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. But the trees were wrapped in, you know that stretch paper that they use to hang for birthday parties?
Oh, yes, yeah.
They wrapped the trees with that in red. The people had on red, old people had on red, the babies had on red, and I was like, this is unbelievable. I could never imagine these people that were old bloods, new bloods, and coming bloods. They were all there. And he had a picnic area that had death row spelled across the top in black, balloons. Suge did it big. Whenever he did stuff, he did it to the extreme. But after being away from that whole scene for a long time, I realized that he's no different than a lot of other people when they get money. And they switch back and forth, and once they got control of the situation, then they take advantage of the situation. And I think that's in the same situation with Tupac and the same situation with Snoop. It's a blessing Snoop is probably here.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, for him.
I remember he was writing that he became very afraid for his own life once they took out, Biggie Smalls and Tupac. And then it just got to be crazy out there. And that
well,
whole
they're
thing,
not the only ones.
They're not the only ones?
Oh, there's a lot of them that's been
Dre,
going.
I understand, was having some serious...
Yeah, well, Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre is a nice guy, but he's not a fighter.
I didn't think so.
Okay. Ice Cube is a nice guy, but he's not really, they're not really into the gangster stuff that they pretend to do.
Yes.
They're really, these guys are very educated, well-groomed, and they talking about money. They're not talking about running around shooting at somebody. That's people don't realize is that's TV, that's the video, but that's not how they are.
Let me ask you a question based on that then. Do you think they did irreparable harm and damage to a whole generation of people because they didn't know that Tupac and those guys were really not like that? And so they tried to be like that in the schools and on the streets, not
Very
knowing
possible.
that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I always thought. I always thought to myself, man, it's not that I'm against them, it's just that they're,
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I really think that they're not the only ones that we can blame. We can blame a lot of different media outlets because they hype it up. They don't tell us that Tupac carried a little book in his back pocket that he read constantly when he wasn't doing nothing. They want to tell you something else about him. Videos, I think, have a generation of young people have gotten caught up on a negative side of it, and I think that's what's wrong with the girls now, because they taking the clothes off, they doing it all, and it's like, stop.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not that interesting.
And then they're not respected in any regard.
Oh, and no,
At
because
all.
that's what Tupac was saying.
Yes.
They do it all. So it's not them that's making them take their clothes off. They're doing it because they want to. And so that's why I did this book, because I want people to know that it's not that easy in the entertainment industry, and you can't compromise. You cannot compromise your life for a dollar bill.
That's right. That's right. This book can be read by teenagers and
Right.
adults alike because, you would think that a book written about this particular genre, area, whatever, would have all kinds of curse words and all that kind of stuff. It's not like that
Well,
at all,
the
right?
situation happened is that my nephew, we went to Florida, and he was like, so can I read the book? And I thought for a second, I said, oh no, he can't read the book because there's too much cussing in it. So then we came back and we revamped and took all the cussing out as much as we could. And so the young people could really take a look at it, because they really are the ones that need to read the book. We don't need to read the book. We already know what's going on. They need to read it because
know the real deal, huh?
and to know the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Again, I commend you for that.
Yeah. Do you have any aspirations in doing more further from this? I mean, is some other book on the...
I might do another one.
Another one? Okay.
I might do one more. It might not be on this same topic. It'll be a different topic.
A different topic.
But I got to sell this one first.
I got
Okay, I get you.
How dangerous was it for you to write that book?
No, I wasn't worried about it.
Okay.
Because before I did anything, I spoke with Suge,
Okay.
you know, and he said, just tell the truth. So that's what I did. I told the truth. If it hurt or not, I
Yeah.
told the truth.
Give us a better picture of him, because his image really is a notorious image. He's a big man as it is, and then he goes for,
That's
you know,
all he is a big man.
Okay.
That's all.
A big, he at that time, he was a big rich man.
Yeah.
You know, Suge has a couple of different personalities, and I'm not going to say he's a nice guy,
Okay.
but I never, you know, I never had a problem with him
Okay.
until the incident.
Till the incident.
And then even though the incident occurred, you know, in my mind, I forgive him, but I haven't forgot.
I got you.
So I never put myself in a situation. Like, I'm not going to go to a club somewhere and I know he's going to be there and drink till I fall out, because I don't think I'm going to make it out.
I got you.
You know, so
Yeah.
I don't do certain things.
And there's some people who will say that, you know, some folks didn't just get hurt by Suge. They may have not been around because of Suge.
Oh, it's
And
a
that
lot
would-
of them.
Yeah, you know,
It's a lot of
there's
them.
some real stuff.
And
out there.
they really don't, what I don't really understand is how the judicial system continues to let him slide.
Yeah.
So,
It's amazing.
Serious stuff.
Money,
Serious
again.
money.
Yeah.
Money
Right,
talks.
money, money. And but it's other people out there doing, you know,
Yeah.
things. But Suge has done some things that it's going to come back to haunt him later.
Yeah, yeah.
And putting his hands on me is going to really haunt him,
I got you. Amen.
because I'm not going to stop.
No, no. Yeah. And you weren't the only one, and that's, I mean, it's
No,
probably
I'm
what-
one that survived.
One that survived. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's just a shame. And too many people who glorified that whole lifestyle was, you know, running, hoping to be a Suge. They just didn't see that side. They didn't know just how bad it really was, did they?
Well, no, they didn't. But you would be surprised that there's some other Suge Knights out there, but y'all just don't know them.
We
But
don't
we
know
know
'em.
who they are.
Oh, you know who they are.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You know, and they're still doing the same stuff. You know, they give you a car. These young people, they want a car, they want some jewelry, they want a house. You give them that stuff, and they're going to sign their life away for the
Yeah.
next 10 years. Then what happens after the 10 years is up?
Right.
I was real disappointed when Missy Elliott came on and she had her own show, and she came off very hard. I thought that was just a horrendous show, and it didn't last very long. But I thought, what is she trying to imitate? And I always held her in, you know, fairly high regard. I thought she was above all that stuff, but boy, her show was like a mess. You
Well,
know.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm the next Sylvia Rome in the world.
Okay.
And I think I can pick hits. And I listen to artists, I listen to young people's music. But in the meantime, I'm doing me.
Okay,
And so
yeah.
I have an exhibit up that's in Atlanta right now.
Okay.
That's called Music Through My Lens, and it's got a lot of artists in it. Tina Marie and Gerald Levert, and who else is in there? Snoop is in it, and
Nice.
Tupac is in it, and Salt and Pepper with Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
So that show is up until July the 19th
Oh, wow.
in
okay.
Atlanta, Georgia.
So how can we bring that show to Harrisburg?
Find me a place, I'll bring it up.
All right, we'll talk about
I'll
that.
bring it
Yeah,
up.
but
I
that'd
think
like
that
to
would
see. Yeah, that'd be
fascinating.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, and they've been getting a real big response at the African American Research Library in Atlanta.
Is that right? Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Well,
Have you done anything similar in Baltimore?
No, not yet. I just opened up the studio in Baltimore.
You just opened it up.
What I've been, the studio opened up the 1st of last month. Really, I didn't really know too many people in Baltimore, so now I'm pushing my thing in Baltimore.
All right.
But I did Men in the Kitchen, different little events that have been going on there,
Okay.
just to build
Yeah.
clientele, meeting people, and that whole thing.
They had that wonderful African
American Museum, that's
in
what I was
Baltimore,
thinking
yeah,
about.
Named after the great multi-billionaire,
That-
I forget his name.
Yeah, that's
Robert
the
Johnson.
that's the one we did. Men Cook in the Kitchen.
Oh, is that
That's
right?
That's what you did. Oh,
Uh-huh,
okay,
that
all
was
right.
with
that
Yeah, I
exhibit.
could see that.
Uh-huh,
Well,
yeah.
we have
Most
a
definitely.
wonderful Pennsylvania State Museum of Pennsylvania here in Harrisburg.
Okay.
That would be
Yeah, we need
possibly
to
an
talk
ideal
about
spot.
that.
We'll talk to them and see whether or not they could accommodate it. That would be
Right
great,
now, I
yeah.
want to set up a book signing here, and The 27th, I think you
Of
said?
July. It's the last Friday in July. We're going to feature you down at Strawberry Square. For anybody that's interested. Again, it's July I think it's the 27th, which is the last Friday in July, and it'll be at Strawberry Square from 11:30 to 1:30, and you'll get a chance to meet author and photographer Simone Greene, and that'll be great. And we're also looking at a couple other venues that day as well.
Okay.
And that's the day when we also have our writers' workshop, and we're going to ask you to come and be a part of that as well. And that's at a wonderful location. It's Jump Street, 100 North Cameron Street in Harrisburg, and it usually is from 7 until 9, and that's when we do our Cafe Word, and we want to feature Simone Greene there as well. We're going to make a big day for you on that last Friday in July. Okay?
Have you considered the Harlem Book Fair?
I'm doing the Harlem Book Fair.
Oh, wonderful, because
I'll
we'll be there.
Oh,
Okay, we'll
I'll
be
be
there.
there.
Okay,
I'll be
wonderful.
there.
Okay,
And
well,
that's July the 21st.
First.
I
yeah,
believe it is.
July 21st.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, so
wonderful.
we'll be there as
I'm working
well.
on that.
Absolutely, good. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you too if they want you to come in and speak or?
I'll get your book. Or,
Yeah, they can go to www.deathrowtimeserved.com, or they can call me at 410-941-9130.
9130.
Good. We'll say that number one more time. I always was just fascinated by the title. I mean, why would they call themselves Death Row Records?
I don't know, but
never
I
understood
had to go with the title of Time Served on Death Row.
That's perfect.
Because that was like, look, I copywritten the name about 9 or 10 years before the book ever came out.
Is that right?
Did you?
I did the name right off because I didn't want nobody else to snatch it up from me.
I don't blame you. My goodness.
Not at all.
Yeah, and again, it was a fascinating time. It was a period that was a lot of genius came out of that era as well.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
be
for
honest
sure.
about it.
Oh,
The
my
records and
goodness,
things were-
yes.
A lot of sadness as well, from my perspective, from where I sat, because I just thought a lot of young people were imitating what they saw, but they didn't really know
They
what they
did.
were seeing.
Right, Sugar's an educated guy. He went to college.
Come on, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he went to Nevada University.
What?
Yes, he was a football player. So it's a lot that people don't know. And if they did their research, they would find out. But yeah, they weren't as he was probably the worst one of all.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he played up to that after a while. He was really enjoying that big thing about being a thug,
But at
yeah.
the same time, every dog has his day.
Yeah, that's right. And is he still in the music industry at all?
Yeah, he's trying to get back in there.
Okay. 'Cause
But
he
they're
listened
not
to-
letting him
they're
in.
not
It's like
letting
they
him
got
in?
a big old vault and they're
Okay.
keeping him out,
Yeah.
But I want to go back to, you said we had a lot of geniuses in that
We're only
generation.
down to a few seconds.
They were the best.
They
made a lot of money.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Well, Simone Greene, thank you again for coming
Yes,
in. This is fast. We
absolutely.
could talk all day
I
about
know,
this.
it's
But you
exciting.
will get a chance to meet Simone again on July the 27th to 28th. That may be the
It's the
27th.
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 Okay, that last Friday in July. Keep it in mind. It's down at Strawberry Square from 11:30 to 1:30, and then again at a couple other venues here in the city, and also at the Writers' Workshop at 100 North Cameron Street, Jump Street Incorporated. We'll have her there as well that evening. Get a chance to sit down and talk to her. Thank you so much for watching Life Esteem. Have yourself a blessed day, and we're going to see you next time here on Life Esteem. Goodbye.